Here we are with another episode review of One Piece 902, and what I liked about this episode was we finally get to see what O-Kiku could do, as well as obviously finally getting into Bakura Town, the district where apparently, according to O-Kiku, there's a bunch of underlings from the Orochi evaded, and you have the residents who are under fear, so they can't do much. So we get introduced to this town. We know that Law's going to do something pretty soon because in the previous episode, he was warned about Zoro and Luffy heading into Bakura Town and he was pissed. So we got to stop these fools from doing anything stupid. They know the plan. I'm pretty sure that's going to hype things up. But more importantly, we're getting into the super match between Urashima and Luffy, which I know the anime are going to go above and beyond, much more so than the manga. You can see that in this episode with the very start of the episode when they come into Bakura Town. Obviously, Luffy being Luffy just screaming at Otama. Obviously, they can't ask the residents or the underlings of Hold'em, one of the headliners that got introduced in the previous episode, because if they do, they're all working for pretty much Hold'em. So that puts Otama in danger. But even so, Luffy's like, oh, okay, in that case, snap, Conqueror's Haki, knocks them all out. Well, most of the underlings. Like I said, the animation kicked in then. They always do when it comes to the hockey scenes, when it comes to Wano. So you can just imagine how things. In fact, there's actually something where he clashes with Urashima. I don't know if Urashima has hockey or whatnot, but it looked like that way with the hockey when they clashed with the Luffy coming in with the sumo slap, and it looked like the hockey clash we've seen before. Although there's no electricity sparks, but I thought it was a neat little touch. Like I said, the animation picked up. Like I said, and O-Kiku kind of explains the rundown of Bakura Town. It's much like most places of Wano under the jurisdiction of Orochi. Luffy's going to do something about that. Into the sumo wrestlers, and one of the sumo wrestlers gets sent flying by Urashima. They actually hyped him up, obviously being a serious threat because he's a sumo. And culture in Japan when it comes to sumo, obviously technique being thrown out of bounds. So they got to display that here at Urashima, at least hyping him up. Although we know what the end result is going to be. With one glance, Zoro intimidated the hell out of this guy. So he's probably going to end up in a one shot, but I'm curious to see what the anime does with this episode coming with the sumo match between Luffy and Urashima. That being said, we do have the sumo underlings, I guess, high praising the hell out of Urashima. What's even ridiculous is the fact that he's got a harem apparently, because girls are just falling for him. But if you look at one of the quotes, it's like, oh, because he's rich, and a big understanding of why they're actually attracted to Urashima is because of the money, and I guess because he has a huge interest with the Beast Pirates, most importantly because he saw the Mouse Man in the previous episode. He was like coaching Urashima to like, oh, just bribe O-Kiku to marry you by attacking a village, or destroy a house so she can't return anywhere, destroy a family, all this and that. So right there, it should give you a clear indicator. With the Beast Pirates, you're going to get introduced to some ridiculous designs. Like I said, Mouse Man was introduced last episode. We saw obviously have Batman, which a lot of people actually, that's a very touchy subject when it comes to Batman clashing with Luffy and withstanding the hockey punch from Luffy, which that should not have been the case. However, I can kind of see the argument, but at the same time, I can see the other side with the anime owners not knowing anything about the manga. So they're not going to care as much about it. And plus, I think I know what they were going for. Not to play devil's advocate, but maybe because one of the big criticisms come out of at one when it comes to Wano, at least from the manga standpoint, is the Beast Pirates were made to like pretty much a joke. Like most of them got one-shotted. Like you saw how Luffy took care of most of them, which is nothing but Conqueror's Haki, like a Zoan type that we get introduced to. So I kind of understand what they're going for to make them seem more threatening in the anime. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but and there's another thing to take consideration when Luffy clashed a lot. I saw this comment a lot. It's like, oh, advanced observation hockey, so he should be able to predict that. Yes, but if you look at the frame of mind that Luffy was in, he was kind of pissed off about time. We know, thanks to Luffy's fight with Katakuri mentioned this himself, the only way to use advanced observation hockey in general is to have a clear mind. So Luffy was not a clear mind at that point. Could have something to do with it. But either way, it's a touchy subject, so I just give you my thoughts on that. I have been paying attention to the anime. They've added a lot more than the manga did not when it comes to like I've said this before, the anime has had more to offer when it comes to like the introduction of Wano, to get us getting settled into some of the characters, O-Kiku being one, Otama's another. Obviously, Urashima, they tried to hype him up in this episode. Don't know if it worked when it comes to like the manga readers, but that being said, it was kind of impressive what they did here. The sumo skill of Zoro and Luffy taking care of the sumo fodder, like you see Zoro with the thrust. Like I can't recall if that was in the manga or not, but either way, it is. We know Luffy has a history when it comes to sumo, at least when it comes to like episode 0 of Film Gold. It's the prequel to the film. Luffy had a sumo match with Usopp, so this is not the first time Luffy's been involved in sumo. Look at the animation; it looks like Luffy, they're going all in. We also get to see what O-Kiku could do, but there's something weird going on, and I said this when she was introduced, like fully, like the way that she goes about herself, like she seems timid and intimidated, but at the same time, you can almost tell it's an act going on because the way she just stands up to Urashima after it looks like O-Kiku is kind of intimidated, but it's clear that O-Kiku is not. Zoro saw that as well because when I guess the underlegs, the sumo underlegs of Urashima attacked O-Kiku, Zoro didn't do anything. He could have done something, but he didn't because he wanted to see what O-Kiku could do. But she revealed that she's a samurai, and I'm willing to bet she has a connection. I think it's obvious with the Kazuki clan. I think that's obvious. And in fact, if you look at the tea house that's on the Suru, there's actually a crest that resembles the Kazuki clan. So I don't think that's a coincidence. They tried to hype up Urashima by having all the bodies being counted up, like 88 broken bones, 4 people missing because of Urashima's destructive capabilities. Impressive to those who in Bokoro Town, but obviously to Luffy and Zoro, not that much. I love the scene where O-Kiku, she's like standing up to Urashima. Urashima convinced that Okiku's gonna marry Urashima. Hindsight being 2020, and know what I know in the manga. Oh, wow! I'm curious to see what Urashima's reaction is going to be when that reveal comes to light. But even she actually gets kidnapped by these other legs, which was weird. But it's like I said, it's an act. There's other women outside who wants O-Kiku's place for some reason. They badmouth her, calling her a tramp and all this. Like, oh, how dare she? She's a commoner. She shouldn't be here. Urashima gets ticked off. But so while he's doing that, kind of defending O-Kiku, it pisses O-Kiku off. O-Kiku stands her ground, and she goes into badass mode. She draws the sword. She cuts off the top knot, which is taboo in Japan. So, of all the things she could have done, that's humiliation on the biggest scale when it comes to Japanese culture. So, yeah. And even O-Kiku realized what she did, and she kind of regretted it. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize what I was doing. So, like I said, it's an act. Luffy was gung-ho by this. Oh, cool. Like, I think Zoro knew this would happen, which is why he didn't do anything. This is where the animation picked up again. By the way, the scene where she draws the sword, cuts the top knot, it was brief, but it was great. That scene was well done. But then Urashima goes into hockey mode for some reason, to make him more and more intimidating. And O-Kiku it's weird because she stands her ground. It's like, oh, Urashima, it looks like you're gonna hit a women after all, so calling him out. But then she doesn't do anything, and Luffy comes in to block the attack with his sumo slap, and that causes the clash. Like I said, I don't know if it's a hockey clash, but it's very similar to it. Like I said, animation kicked in. Wano is at home run when it comes to the anime. So hopefully this continues. Like I said, Law's probably on the way, given what we saw in the previous episode. Episode that hypes up Urashima also gives us more insight to Bokoro Town, which I'm really digging. Obviously, spoiler alert, but Act 2 has finally got done, so I'm curious. Are they going to spoil anything else in the openings as we go along? Curious, but that being said, O-Kiku kind of gets a chance to shine. Like I said, I think obvious there's a connection with the Kazuki clan at this point. And I can't wait to see what really lies ahead, especially with obviously being introduced to Hold'em. We do know there's another headliner. Was it kind of introduced? We're going to get to see what Hold'em could do. I'm really curious about where they go with Hold'em because, spoiler, it's not going to go well. So, like I said before, the clash that Luffy had with Black Batman, I can see them extending that a little bit, but maybe not too much. I thought it was a decent episode. Great animation with a great ending with Luffy and Urashima. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like this review if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. Bye.